What's up, Internet? Big J with BigJsExtremeFitness. I know, again, a couple of videos ago, as a matter of fact, the last two videos, I've talked about putting up more videos, and I've got tons of content. As a matter of fact, let me show you a couple of clips that I've been working on. Yeah. Maximus, I hate to tell you this, but you're not a lap dog. So as you can see, I've got some great content. I've got a lot of editing to do. I've been traveling around like a chicken with my head cut off. I've been working on a new formula for my pre-workout intensity. I've actually got a new flavor approved. We're recreating the labels and getting that formula finalized and manufactured and out to you guys and gals that support me. Thank you so much. But let me move forward to the topic of this video. UnderTraining. Now, I know that you've heard lots of YouTubers and gurus and personal trainers and internet personalities talk about overtraining. There's no such thing, et cetera, et cetera. I've already done a topic on that. I want to talk about the undertraining part of the fitness industry, not bodybuilders, not powerlifters, but the fitness industry as a whole. Now, this is, again, my 35th year of doing this. I've done it with intensity, with training and competing in different sports and events, and done very well in most of them. The only thing I'm doing right now is maintaining and training and having a fantastic rest of my life, crushing it with intensity with the greatest bodybuilder of all time, Mr. Ronnie Coleman. He and I talk a lot every time we train. And this is something that not only he and I have discussed in our past workout sessions, but something that I'll notice even when I'm not training with him, because there are times that he's traveling and I'm not, or I'm traveling and he's not, and I'll go into a gym and I'll be mentally prepared. I'll be getting ready for my set, and I'll work a working set, and I'll spot whoever that I'm with, and I'll count, and then I'll prepare again, and then I'll look out across the gym and I go, wow, that guy's biceps are huge, or that guy's quads are ginormous, or that girl's hamstrings are off the chain, or whatever. But then you start looking at their body, and yes, there's a genetic disposition that you have to put into factor. You've also got to realize that people are in their certain sport or in the industry that they're in or what they're trying to accomplish. It requires them to have a larger body part or proponent or component that allows them to excel in that sport. An example, soccer players or bicycle riders are going to have exponentially larger calves than an average. I don't want to call anybody average, but your regular bodybuilder. Versus a swimmer is going to be, more aesthetic than slimmer in the shoulders and the arms and the chest and low back and have, not as muscular chest, etc. So with that being said, and looking at the people that are in the gym and knowing exactly what they're training for, I want to address this because I've done it as well. Back when I was a competitive bodybuilder, I had a stronger body part that I loved to train, and the weaker body parts I didn't like training because A, I wasn't educated enough to try to overcome my deficiency until later on in my career. B, I just didn't like training it, so I didn't train it as much. So that was the biggest problem right there. And C, basically, when you do have, and this goes back against A and B, when you do have a bigger body part or a better body part or a body part that you like to train, you tend to train it more and put more intensity and more emphasis on it. So I've done videos, train the worst first, which basically talks about a lagging body part. An example, if your legs are smaller than your upper body, or your triceps are smaller than your biceps, or your chest is smaller than your shoulders or back or whatever, you should prioritize those training sessions to put those at the first part of the week. And this is, again, just kind of double speaking on what I talked about, training the worst first. But the undertraining that I'm talking about is if you're hamstrings are lagging from your quads. You got ginormous quads, but you have small hamstrings. You're like, man, I've got big legs, but I don't know what's wrong with my hamstrings. Well, you're not training them properly. If you're utilizing some deadlifts to work on your hams and glutes tie-ins, or if you're doing, your lunges or your lying leg curls or the seated leg curls or any of those extra, or even regular squats that are parallel or below that will help you build your hamstrings. You've got to incorporate that, especially if you want to be a competitive bodybuilder that can be judged fairly on stage. There's a lot of people that it's almost like a 5-year-old kid, they start combing their hair and they're getting ready for school and, they get everything squared away, but the back of their hair doesn't look that good because they can't see it. So you need to make sure that you're not only looking for and judging what your body looks like, especially, again, if you're trying to get on stage to be judged and critiqued, and know that your good body parts are your strong body parts, that you don't need to continue to get a bigger 21-inch bicep, especially if you have a smaller chest, shoulders, and back, and your calves are only 13 inches and your quads are only 25 inches. And I'm not calling anybody out at all. I'm just saying, if you have a huge body part, don't continue to train it with the intensity that you need to train the tricep to catch that up. And especially if your arms are 21 inches, you probably have a great tricep. But make sure that you prioritize, okay, I have 25-inch quads and I have 21-inch arms. And if you're going to get on stage, you're going to have to bring those quads up. Again, under training, you're not training the body parts that need the most work with the proper intensity and value that you need to make your physique symmetrical, to be competitive. And again, even if you're not competing, I've seen some phenomenal physiques out there that have never even thought about competing, which I don't think that's a waste of time. That's a priority. They don't want to compete. They don't want to do that final 2 or 3 or 4 weeks of dieting, which I stopped competing because I hated that last couple of weeks. That's why I never excelled any farther than I did, because I stopped. I had other priorities. I had different jobs. I had, family. I had, things that I had going on, which took priority over my bodybuilding. Bodybuilding to me was just a hobby, was just a side fun thing. It didn't pay my bills. It did pay well when I was guest posing and I was a sponsored athlete while I was competing, and still up until a couple of years ago. But again, not my priority. If you want your physique to look good, you have to prioritize the undertrained body parts. Your hamstrings hardly ever match your quads. Your triceps hardly ever match your biceps. Your rear delts hardly ever match your front delts, because the front delts get taxed on shoulders and chest, and when you do triceps and biceps even. So you've got to make sure that you value and you put an effort towards getting that physique symmetrical. Do not undertrain your hamstrings. And especially a lot of these girls now, I've never seen so many booty posts and booty pumps and booty workouts in my entire life. Back when I was competing, girls had nice booties in, but all they did was squat. They didn't start creating 1,000 other exercises to create a bigger butt. And what's happening is their butts are getting exponentially larger and larger and larger. So not that they're overtraining their butts, but they're undertraining their hamstrings, quads, and calves. You see girls walking around, they look like they got pillows in the backs of their spandex. And I'm not making fun of them at all. I'm just saying, you want to get a big butt, you got to have quads, hams, and calves to match that. It doesn't look right. It looks like a spider walking around with a big old giant rear end with tiny legs. And again, I'm not making fun of anybody or calling anybody out. I'm just saying, same thing with guys. You got to have arms that match your delts, because if you have such huge capped delts and you think, okay, man, shoulders are my favorite day, so you train it 2 to 3 times a week and you're hitting your arms maybe once a week, of course you're hitting it with doing your chest and your back. You're just not going to be symmetrically proficient when you're on stage. Again, just talking about some people that are complaining about their body parts not growing. Think about this when you're complaining. And I'm about to close the video, and I know I've rambled about this, but think about this. If you want to have a symmetrical physique, you have got to perfect the imperfections, okay? Imbalanced physiques can be corrected by training. You've got to put 100% intensity in those exercises and those body parts and those training sessions that you don't like. Train the worst first. If you have a horrible set of hamstrings, go ahead and crush the hell out of them before you start squatting. That's what I used to do. My hamstrings used to be flat from the back. I'd have a little bit of a glute and then a flat hamstring, and then my quads were bam. Well, now, not necessarily now, but then later on in my bodybuilding career, my legs were balanced because I started training my hamstrings first. Same thing with my bis and tris. I used to have a huge peak of my biceps, but not really much of a tricep. So I started crushing my triceps first, kind of pre-exhaustion type technique, but I would crush the triceps really hardcore, and then I'd hit the biceps if I was just having a arm day. Same thing with doing chest and shoulders. If you're doing your triceps with your chest, or you're doing your biceps with your back, start pre-exhausting those muscles so you're not using those muscles, until you're actually to that group. So hope that made sense. I know I rambled a lot. This is just some tips from Big J. Hopefully that this helps you guys and gals. Something to look forward to. Just broke the Guinness Book of World Records longest uncut choreographed fight scene with Shane Faison of Fight Tips. I will be there in a couple of days to help him celebrate his millionth subscriber. And he's already got 25,000 more, so he's making leaps and bounds. Congratulations, Shane. You are one of the most awesome dudes I've ever met. I really love working with you. Can't wait to work with you again soon. I've got training each body part, training chest like a girl, training arms like a girl, training legs like a girl with Jody Miller, IFBB Pro. That series will be coming out soon. I've got tons of footage from Big Ron and myself that'll be coming out soon, and other bits and pieces of different videos that I will have coming out and training just like the hardcore old days that you guys liked. And again, FitCon's right around the corner. All the links will be in the description box. Please, thank you, and have a fantastic day. Check out and follow and subscribe and share, and love you guys very much. Until next time, Intensity Rules, train hardcore. Really sorry I just rambled on about this, but it was very important for me to tell you guys, again, train the worst first. Do not undertrain the body parts that you do not like to train.
Intensity Rules, train hardcore, and come on, damn it, let's go.